welcome to ETTO's Catch Up, the only show. I'm Will.
I'm Ben.
It's Ben.
It's Ben. I'm here.
It's Ben, everybody. It's new. It's fresh.
New. Yep.
Top 100. It's happening right now on Triple J.
It is. Not here.
Not here. Do you involve yourself in the Triple J Top 100?
Sometimes. I used to do it a lot more because I used to listen to a lot more music. And I do not anymore, or I just put on like lo-fi beats while I'm doing work. So I don't know if I could name a song from this year, if I'm honest.
I just got ballpark music. That's all I've got.
That's fair.
I've got that every year, so I'm good. How are you? Welcome to the catch up, Ben.
Thank you. It's nice to be in this window of space with the bricks around me. That's kind of nice.
Yeah. Soft bricks. It's nice to be in the podcast, not just listening to the podcast in the Discord channel.
Yeah. Sometimes I sneak in. I did it, I think, a lot more like a couple years back. And then for some reason last week, I think it was mainly because I wanted to chat to Will and Josh, and I thought they might be done. And then I kind of slid my way in, and it turns out they weren't done, and I felt really awkward because they noticed I slid in. So anyway, it's nice to be here, not in that way. It's nice to talk. It's nice to see this screen and talk. That's the main thing. Not have to be silent.
This is the part where we like just catch up. I know the whole podcast is called the catch up. How you been? What's been happening?
What's been happening? Things.
Yeah.
I'm just look. The long and the short of it is I'm very tired. And many of you will know why. And if you don't know why, you can probably find out. But you know what? I'm doing all right. I've been kind of having some chill evenings. I watched a nice movie that you recommended last night because I needed to turn my brain off. I can't even remember the name of the movie. Nice Guys.
You said one of the words.
I did. Yeah. It was very nice.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I made a nice little pun.
There it is. You keep saying it.
I am. It was a nice, fun time with some guys.
Yeah,
that's what it was. And just playing a lot of Destiny. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? When's that? Is that today? When does that kick off?
That expansion?
Or is that next month?
No, that's we got 1 month. Got 1 month.
1 month.
1 month of prep.
You got to get those fingers working.
Got to get those fingers working.
Oh, exciting.
And also snapping. I've been snapping. I never stop snapping.
Big time snapping.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you should get you back on in a month's time, although we won't be able to talk about Destiny. Yeah. We won't be able to maybe that's what you should do. You should do the podcast while you're playing.
Yeah. I mean, I reckon I could. It'd be interesting, but I could give it a go.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
How about you? How are you been?
Tired's the optimal word. Also warm. I really thought summer was never going to come because it was, I think for both Melbourne and Sydney, it was very rainy and very muggy. Very, very cold. But it's here now. The summer is hit.
It hasn't stopped for a while now.
Nah. Yeah. Even when it's rainy, I'm like, oh, good, a relief day. But it's like, no, just humidity to 90. So that's been fun.
There was one day of insanity a little while back. I think it was over like the little Christmas New Year's period where it was legitimately like it started storming at like 11 p.m. But it had been like 38 during the day. It started storming at like 11 p.m. and I was like, oh, I'll open the door because it'll be cooler. And I went out and I was like, this is not cooler. And I looked at my phone and it was still like 32 degrees or something. And I was like, we don't do that down here. That's why I live in Melbourne, because we don't do that. And you ruin the experience. Yeah.
Shit, maybe I brought it with me because it was my summer when I was there, or maybe I've just left it there.
Yeah.
What a shame. But apart from the weather, fine. Just settling into the new year, I think.
Yeah.
Finally. Which is good fun. And we had a little ETTO meeting last week, so we're keen to make content. If anything, you may have watched the first stream of the new year because this will come out on Tuesday. So we might be back. Might be back.
Might be back. We're back. If we didn't do that, or even if they did, we're here.
Welcome to the podcast, Ben. We're in the news now. Because I'm stream decking, and I've got a news stinger, and for whatever reason, It shouldn't be how it works. When I press it to queue up the transition, it sometimes just starts playing the transition.
Yeah.
So that's what just happened there.
You know what? It was a good way to like cut us off speaking at the very least.
Yeah. We're in the news now.
Yeah.
My first news is kind of a little bit of a discussion topic. So do you want to kick us off with your first little bit of news?
Yeah. So obviously there's been a bit of drama, for those who don't know, in the D&D world the past few weeks. So basically, I think at the start of January, there was the Wizards of the Coast, the people who run D&D and Magic the Gathering. It was leaked that they were working on a new open game license. And this is all wordy, technical, legal stuff. The gist of what that is that's the thing that allows people to make homebrew content for D&D, to make their own pieces of content. Technically what allows streamers to stream and make their own worlds and stuff and release their own separate books. So like Critical Role have released their own source books and that kind of stuff. And D&D put out this thing to a bunch of creators, put them under NDA, and it turns out they were basically trying to take a large slice of royalties and a slice of the pie from all these people in a way that they had never done previously and had said they wouldn't do. And basically, it had turned out that the big wigs basically at Wizards had been just trying to capitalize on the fact that D&D is a much more popular thing now than it was 10 years ago.
Damn it.
Which sucks. Anyway, so that was under NDA, but some people leaked it because they were like, this is shit. We need people to know. And that kind of came out and about, and a bunch of D&D creators started speaking out about it and like, this ain't cool. We need to... D&D needs to remain as open source as possible. Obviously, Wizards of the Coast still retain a lot of the rights to stuff, but like part of the large chunk of the reason D&D has become so popular in the past 10 years is because of the communities and the creators around it rather than Wizards themselves. And they may have a movie and stuff coming out this year, but again, they can only make that movie because of all the people that are making the streams
that made it popular.
And I guess Stranger Things, but that's a separate thing. Anyway, and so fast forward about halfway through January, Wizards came out with another statement, being like, so that original thing you read, the original new open game license, not what we're going for. We're revoking a few bits of it. We're not going to take any royalties from you. But the statement was loaded with a lot of bullshit. Basically, people instantly called it out, made videos, and were like, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying. Wizards were like, this was a draft. This wasn't intended to be the final version of it. And people were like, no, the NDA you sent out to people was getting them to sign a contract. That's not a draft.
Nothing can change beyond that NDA.
Yeah. And so people were still upset about it, and it was kind of the thing of rumors and murmurs were going around of a lot of people and creators kind of starting to maybe go away from D&D, start working with like Pathfinder and other RPG game systems because they're not happy with the way Wizards were managing it, and Wizards have burned a lot of bridges and stuff. And it kind of, from all the rumors coming from within Wizards of the Coast, it seemed like the higher-ups were just pissed that people were this upset about it, and were just like, why, like...
What's the big deal?
Yeah. Anyway, so it kind of looked like that was just going to be it, and like they were still ultimately going to release an open game license and all that kind of thing, and like they might consult a bit more with the community with it, but it was going to get out eventually, and people were going to have to kind of come to grips with that. I woke up this morning. Turns out the open game license, the original one, is remaining completely untouched. They are not bringing in any new open game license. They're also making the entire SRD 5.1 available under a Creative Commons license. Don't know exactly what that means, but Creative Commons license is a good thing. That means it's open to more people. And it's basically... in an insane turn of events. I've been struggling to follow this a little bit as a D&D fan because it's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. But the insane turn of events here is that clearly Wizards were like, we need to get a bigger slice of the pie. And there was so much pushback against that and there was so much bad press that they basically had to go, you know what, screw it, we're just going to have to cop it. And that is insane to me, that like not only the power of the people that like they were able to do that, but that they screwed up that badly that clearly like the financiers at Wizards were like, all right, this ain't going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. That's nuts because it totally is the fact that they probably haven't made any money since D&D started, because totally the only reason it works is people do it on their own, and that doesn't really cost anything. So it's wild that they just went, I guess we just keep not making any money because we did it the wrong way. How wild. No, I didn't know anything about this. That's
so
nuts.
it's kind of crazy. I guess the interesting thing is how people still continue to move forward with D&D and their relationship with it, because obviously this is like great. This is a good outcome for what was a very shitty situation. But I just in reading a few impressions on my Twitter timeline and stuff this morning, people are still like, this is great, but you created a lot of drama where maybe you didn't need to. And I think a lot of people are more like, well, at least this means we can kind of like keep working with the D&D systems and all that. But what it has done is opened people's eyes to more and more alternatives. So not only have they had to revoke their original plans, but they've also made people realize that there are all these alternatives to D&D, all these other systems. And it's like, it's just such a corporate fuck up. And I love it in that sense. But it's also like, as someone who loves playing D&D, it's just fascinating.
Yeah. That's so funny that they pushed towards their competition accidentally.
Yeah.
God, that's good. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. But that's the gist of it. Just a great win for the people.
Yeah. Well, speaking of corporate and maybe not wins, I just wanted to talk about, there were 3 sequels that got announced to films this week. And I want to just ask the question, why can't movies just happen once anymore? Why does it just... So the biggest one, and the one that like not particularly excited by, but I'll of course watch, is that they announced that they're working on a Violent Night sequel, which is the David Harbour Santa Claus movie. It's very John Wick in the sense that the first one's very small, so the next one could kind of expand out a fucking Santa Claus universe.
Which means the third one is going to have a random Santa Claus king in the desert like John Wick did, because that's just how they go.
Okay, what if they just do that? What if they just do the John Wick films, but now it's just Santa?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, could be kind of fun.
Yeah, the first one, like, I'm totally fine with this getting a sequel. Action films kind of do. Yeah. In the same vein, Megan is getting a sequel. Horror films can't seem to stick to one. Yeah. But those two, I get it, but I also, I think about like 80s action films and like, star vehicles with Arnie, and apart from your Terminators, Rambos, and Rockies, they did so many one-off action films that didn't need another one. They just were cool once, and that was it.
Like The Nice Guys.
I will take a sequel.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I would like a sequel. But yeah, totally, like The Nice Guys. Maybe if they had done more of those, it would have lessened the original. Yeah. So those ones I kind of get. The Knives Out movies, they're going to pump those out. I don't know. Knives Out in its own might have been enough. The Avatar films, I don't love any of them, but the first one was so big that it's like, it could have just been that, I guess.
Yeah.
But the sequel that I'm most surprised that got announced this week, obviously those other two, they didn't get announced this week, is that there is a sequel for The Upside, which was the Bryan Cranston, Kevin Hart film where Bryan Cranston was in a wheelchair. It was based on a French film. There were a lot of controversies, but it was kind of one of those, America, it's kind of A Man Called Otto. America has those like feel-good old person dying, someone cares for them. It's one of those movies. I don't know how that movie ends. I don't know if the person dies. If they do, it's hard. But apparently they're working on a sequel to that movie. And that's the one where I'm like, what? Why?
I just... in a similar vein, I read a thing... it was almost made it into my news, but I don't think it was interesting enough, but it kind of ties into this, is Netflix's head, I think his name's like Ted Sarandon or something. with like none of the things we have cancelled were successful, and it's like you're telling me, and all the things we continue to make more of, we deem as successful or whatever.
Yes,
I can't remember the exact wording of it, and I was like, you're telling me that the Kissing Booth movies were worth a sequel?
Yeah,
you're telling me
3.
You're telling me there's a third one in the works. There's already been 2 of them. It's like you're telling me that was worth it, but like Nice Guys was Netflix, right? Like they.
Well, I didn't know it was at the movies in like 2016.
All right, but I was going to say so something like Nice Guys doesn't get a sequel, but the Kissing Booth does. Anyway,
fucking Kissing Booth. Stupid. Anyway, yeah, and then all the TV shows that they can as well. Like, there's a good video from. I don't know if it was Nostalgic or one of the other YouTubers, but they're talking about how so many TV shows take that first season to work out what they are, and then the next season is really, really good because they're like, oh, that's all the things we got wrong. But Netflix just don't let them have a sequel. I know we're going back on the sequel idea. I realized that the idea of this story was there's too many of them.
Yeah.
TV shows can have sequels, but...
But it's also it's also the fact that the choices they make for what do get sequels is part of the problem.
Yeah, so, it's bizarre. Yeah, it's bizarre because a lot of the it's weird as well when something gets cancelled and then the outpouring of support. It's like just look in your replies and be like, all right, I guess we do another one.
Yeah, totally.
But in the same vein, TV shows, if a movie doesn't get a sequel, sometimes it becomes a TV show, and that's stupid as well because it's like. Well, even a lot of the shows that I'm watching at the moment are already feel like dragged out movies. So it's like, I don't need a show of them. Like, I'm looking at the Batman, which of course is a superhero thing. So of course that's going to get a sequel. Yeah. But the thought of a Penguin show and the thought of a Gotham City Police show is just like, I don't know, man. That's just too much stuff based on one thing. Yeah,
but, well, we're in danger of getting into a different conversation here, but I look at that with like stuff like Marvel and all the TV shows they start to announce, and sometimes I'm just like, that's not, we either didn't need a sequel or we didn't need a full TV series about it. Like, so I think maybe we're just both at a point where we're a bit exhausted by the whole franchising thing. I went through and watched all the Alien and Predator movies over the break, and like, if anything, it made me hate franchising even more.
Because, you might be in the prime position to talk about that.
Because I think it's like, there's just, again, a corporate obsession with like pumping out more and more of these things. And sometimes I just wish we could sit with those original 2 Alien films, one of which is a sequel, but a good sequel, and be like, you know what, that was okay. And I want to live in a world where Predator and Prey exist, and those are the only 2 movies in the Predator universe. Because by God, some of them are bad.
I don't know how you did it. I dipped my toe. Did you watch The Predator? Like the
I watched
one set in
all of them.
Yeah, that's fucked. You're insane.
Which one was The Predator again?
It was actually Shane Black who did The Nice Guys. It was the one set in present day that had a kid, and it had the bad guy from Logan. He was one of the like. And I had Key or Peter.
Yeah, Key. I'm trying to. Okay, so the plots have all meshed together in my head so that was the one. Yeah. Oh, that was the one where the autistic kid saved the world because they were like, actually, maybe the way autistic kids' brains think is the way, like, is the correct way, is like evolution. And me knowing a lot of autistic and neurodivergent people was like, cool. This is
fucking hell.
This is great. The reason I was confused was because there was The Predator, and there's also Predators, which was 2010, which is,
oh my God,
again, names very similar. That was the one where they went to a like basically a game hunting planet, but they're the game, and so it's all these terrible people who have done terrible things go to this planet, and the predators basically like hunt them on that planet and stuff. That was also really bad.
I like, it doesn't happen very often, and I'm not saying I know everything, but I especially with things like franchising, you just unlock something new in my brain about something I thought I knew about. Like, I didn't know that movie existed. Wow.
I didn't know quite a few of them did. And I'm not sure I'm better for knowing that they did exist, but it was an interesting exercise that I went through.
And that's wild.
Yeah, I think, if anything, as I said, it's just really shone a light on the MCU and a lot of other things for me. And maybe that's a positive thing, or maybe that's just going to make me more depressed. Who knows? We'll have to find out.
That's sequels, baby.
Yeah.
Give us your second story.
My second story. So I have a few here because, again, I wasn't sure which you would decide to talk about. Probably the most interesting one and the one we can have the most discussion on is, of course, Marvel's Avengers. Actually, I don't know if we'll have that much discussion on it because it is what it is. Marvel's Avengers has ended development.
It's all over.
Basically, they have announced that, I believe, as of March 31st, which is in a couple of months, there will be no further updates to the game. And it'll be one final update. With it will come a couple extra things, I believe, maybe a couple quality of life improvements, some extra skins. They also announced all cosmetics in the game will be free to use after that, which in one hand is like, great. But on the other hand, they're still trying to sell the cosmetics now. In the past week, they have put up tweets about new cosmetics that they're selling in the game, and all these people are like, you just announced they're going to be free in like 2 months.
What the fuck are you doing?
And
and like the day before they announced that it was all over, there was a PlayStation, I don't know, maybe it's on Xbox as well, but there's a pack of MCU skins that are like one of each Avenger, and it's like $90. It's like, fuck off.
It's this weird thing, and like we've obviously seen the trends, and I think you and Josh and I have very much been like, this game is not surviving. Because all they've done for the past year is basically put out new skins and a couple characters that don't do much different. So I think we kind of saw the trend coming, but it's this crazy thing of the fact that they've spent this past year basically releasing skins and no new meaningful content. I know there has been some new content, but just feels really kind of gross. If this was a thing that that's been in the works for quite a while now, and they've kind of known about it, it feels pretty terrible that we're only finding out about it now. Like, just because, all the game has been for the past year, especially, has been a skin machine. And the fact that they're being like, well, it's over, and all of them you can get for free. It's like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I want that to be a positive thing, but all it triggers in my brain is every tweet I've seen of a new skin in the game for the past year, and it's, I don't know.
I totally get you. Yeah. It's almost like, I mean, it is exactly what it is, which is clearly they've been trying to recoup every cent they could for how much of a failure. But it's like, once they knew they were going to do this, it's weird, as you said, it's weird that they're not doing the free thing till September, like until it's over. Like,
wait, so
there's a March update, but the free part of it is only, I think, when it dies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a March update, and then it dies in September, so it's actually ages away. They're not gonna do anything for multiple months, but everything's still being paid. Like, it's bizarre. And
it's
like, are they still gonna tweet about skins like they have been and stuff? Yeah.
Like, I'm happy for people that haven't played it that will get to have some fun in September, because the game's got to be on. I mean, it's already on Game Pass. It's got to become like a free game.
Yeah,
there's no way you can charge for the video game. But yeah, outside of that, it is such a horrible end to the already horrible game.
Yeah, part of me wonders if part of it is because Crystal Dynamics also changed hands in the past year, basically. So they went to, God, I don't know what the actual name for it is. They have like 4 names: Koch Media, Embracer Group. Yeah, whatever the hell they are.
And then I think Koch changed their name as well.
Yeah,
so it's something else now.
It's something else stupid. It's something else really stupid, and I'm going to be annoyed.
What's it called now? Play on.
That's the one.
Yeah,
because no one knew how to pronounce
P-L-A-I-O-N.
No one knew how to pronounce their existing names. They're like, let's make another one that no one knows how to pronounce. But yeah, and so obviously, like, they left Square Enix. So I imagine that like pushed back a bunch of plans, maybe changed a bunch of plans. So like some of it comes down to that. But yeah, what a mess. Just to do a quick little post-mortem on it, because obviously we loved the game when it came out. Loved a lot of what it was doing with the story. All three of us, I think, played a lot of that game. Have played a lot of that game.
I platinumed it for some reason.
And like, it is definitely a bit sad because like, there's a very good game underneath all the bullshit, and there's so much bullshit. But it's like, we're seeing it now with Gotham Knights and probably Suicide Squad as well. I'm like, I just keep coming back to the thing of like, is it this hard to make a superhero multiplayer game? To me, it should be a slam dunk. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard in a genre that is all about teaming up. Yeah. That it is so hard to make an effective teaming up superhero game. And like, probably a bunch of it comes down to licenses and having to deal with IP and all that stuff. But like, oh man, it just sucks. It sucks. And I hope that the future for Marvel games is a lot more positive than the mess that was Avengers. But yeah, it's a shame.
It's a horrible end, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I'll boot it up one more time and have a little have a play with all the skins because I can now.
I think I will. I think I'll boot it up at some point to play with the new characters, Jane and Winter Soldier as well, just for a bit of fun. But yeah, oh well. Anyway, sorry. I've been slowly realizing this is not the most happy news thing we've ever done, but that's fine.
Well, I know, we were just talking about how bad everything is. Well, let me lift it with such professional levity with a story about a bunch of doctors eating Lego and pooping them out.
Oh, so great. Love it.
This is actually a kind of begun in Melbourne, so it's your guys' fault. An emergency physician that works at Western Health in Melbourne, Australia, Dr. Andy Tagg, says he meets a lot of anxious parents that come in and kids have like swallowed Lego or they've swallowed like coins and stuff, and he's always got to be like, look, it'll come out. It's okay. Like, there's no worries to be had here. It's a small object.
Kids really do that, huh? It's just crazy.
It's stupid. It's like one of the lines was something like, kids eat coins because they put them in their mouth to see what it tastes like, and then they just accidentally swallow them. It's like, yeah, of course, they're stupid. They're so stupid. So Andy's idea was he'll get 6 doctors together. He devised an experiment where each one of them swallowed a Lego head to test how long it took to pass the Lego. Amazing. Amazing. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how a bunch of scientists were trying to count ants. Yeah. Scientists are fucking stupid. Like, I know they're smart, but they do so many weird, dumb things.
Yeah, well, it's just like sometimes you got to wonder if they're just like, damn it, Brad, we need something to test today. What can we test?
Eat some Lego, idiot. Yeah. This guy, Dr. Damien Roland, it's so fun because they bracketed like all the things that he is. This is coming from npr.org. He's an honorary professor and pediatric emergency medicine consultant at Leicester. I nailed it. Hospitals and university. And the quote from him is, and I know I've met doctors like this. This very smart man. I've been shown loads of poo. It's a really common thing to be shown because parents get worried about poo all the time. So I've seen lots of poo, but I've never had to look at it myself. It's like these idiots. Now, whilst the aim was to raise awareness for like the fact that eating batteries is bad, which is one of the big thing kids do, and that like has acid in it. So they wanted to do that. Again, doctors and scientists, very silly people. The doctors were also keen to make their way into the BMJ, which is the British Medical Journal, which is a prestigious peer-reviewed and generally very serious, but at the end of every year, they do a Christmas special, which is goofy, full of funny stories. So whilst they were making a study to like prevent kids from eating batteries, they were also like, we could get in the Goofy Journal.
Yeah, silly Goofy Journal, right? That's
fucking hell.
That's just brilliant, man.
It's and old mate Andy, he didn't lay off. He like named things accordingly. So the time interval that was given for like ingestion to expulsion is the found and retrieve time score, which is the fart score. And then the other one was the kind of testing if it changed bowel movements, which was called the stool hardness and transit score, which is the shat score. So too much time. Much time.
You know you got too much time when you're making acronyms and then finding words to fit them.
Yeah. We want the shat and the fart score. The main thing is that 5 of the 6 were able to find the Lego head in their poo. It generally took, it generally only took 1 to 3 bowel movements, which is pretty good. So, you really don't have to worry if you eat a bit of Lego. Apparently, female digestive systems took only 1 go, so it was quicker to come out than the dudes. So, another one up for females.
I think we can vouch for guts. That our stomachs are not good. So, makes sense.
They're not. Yeah, between the two of us, stomach's not good.
No.
The best bit is Dr. Damien Rowland, who was talking about poo earlier, was the one that didn't get a score or anything. This guy is so stupid. He says, "It turns out my colleagues did like a proper break open the poo and see if it was there. I kind of looked at it, maybe like prodded around, but I wasn't going to open my poo to see if it was inside. I just presumed everyone was doing this. It absolutely shocked me when I found out people were searching their poo. You're a doctor. You're conducting a survey. You got to poke your poo."
The whole point of science is to be thorough. You're supposed to do the full thing.
If anyone has a medical emergency in Leicester, just be wary. Don't go near Damien. He's not going to be able to help you.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that's kind of everything. It said that Lego didn't affect bowel movements as well, so it's just going to come through. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this all while I'm fumbling a piece of Lego, and I'm like, for the podcast.
I was saying I have coins like next to me on my desk, so every now and then I was just glancing at them, being like, But yeah, it's I don't know. It's I just look backwards at my toilet. It's just, do you ever eat a thing and you're like, I wonder if this is going to come through the other way, just not like digest.
Not changed?
Yeah. Sometimes I do that. And like, I don't check afterwards because I'm not conducting a scientific experiment. But there is, I do with semi-frequency. I couldn't put a number to it. Sometimes think, like what's the deal with this? I don't know.
Well, with me, my medical thing is I don't have a large bowel. I can't remember what they pulled out of me. But whatever they got rid of me is the part that like digests stuff. So for a lot of mine, it is exactly that.
Yeah.
Poo, everybody.
Poo. There you go.
Let's get out of this. That was the news. Welcome to the ad read. Oh, we did have an ad thing to read. I'm going to quickly get it up.
Are you about to get paid, William?
Well, technically, we're being paid by the person we're reading an ad about.
Well, there you go. Amazing.
Technically.
Thanks for the money.
The ad read is where we read ads. And from Lawcat, you can now get the whole Gin series in one ebook, all 4 novels and 3 novellas in one place on Amazon. Lawcat writes these books.
Yes.
And do you know much? I haven't looked into them. I really should have. No. Do you know, it's like fantasy stuff, right?
Yeah. I also haven't read. So this is great. But you know what? From everything I've heard from people who have, they're quite wonderful books. And I find it freaking cool that like people we know within our communities, within our circles, like write books and stuff. Because we. Like, I'm not saying what we do is irrelevant, but we do sit around and just talk about poop for a while.
We did just do that.
Yeah, and then I think about people who are out here writing, like the fact that Lawcat can have an omnibus of books.
Insane.
Like, that's not just, you've not just written one book. You have enough that you can make a whole omnibus. And omnibus is a great word. But then also, I'm very impressed. So there you go. That's my thought.
Impressed by the word and the person.
Yeah.
Amazon is saying that it's $9.99 for a Kindle, but it's also saying the Kindle price is $8.45 as a separate option there. There's 2 different prices there.
I'm getting $14.37 Australian dollars.
Oh, that's American. Yeah. Well, I spoke from American viewers. And then,
all our American viewers now have an idea. That's great.
Did you know that... we have like a 12 or something % viewership in Germany consistently year on year. Every year that they give us the I go through Buzzsprout. Yeah. Every year that they give us the kind of year in review, Germany is always at like top 3. It's like Australia, America or UK, and then Germany, and then a couple of other countries.
So we're probably speaking to some Germans right now. Hello, Germany.
Yeah. hello, Germany. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I would speak some German, but I really don't know much, so I'm going to avoid that.
It's a good idea. Thank you for the ad read. Look out if you want to submit well, technically Dolphin submitted to talk about it. Yeah. But if you want to submit an ad for someone else or for yourself, chuck it in the Discord and we'll throw it into this segment. Yeah. Now,
and thank you, Germany.
And thank you, Germany, mainly. Yeah. I'm going to attempt to get us into the next segment, but I feel like it's going to go wrong. It went right. This is Cues from Youse, where you can submit cues from Youse. If you want to submit those cues, you need to be in the Discord. To get in the Discord, you go to patreon.com/each to their own. There's a little thing that says hashtag Ask ETTO. It's a channel, and there's a form. Chuck questions in it, just like these people have. There is a lot of new freshies. Did you have one that you spied that you wanted to pull first, or?
I didn't get as much of a chance to look at it as I would like to.
No, that's right.
But you know what? I'll go for one which is pretty topical for me off the top of the bat, which is from Lawcat, of all people, which says, how much do you like cheese? And so for those who don't know, but at this point, if you're listening to this and you're a part of the ETTO community, you probably know I am pretty lactose intolerant. But the question is, how much do I like cheese? And the unfortunate reality is I fucking love cheese. Cheese is so good. Cheese is like one of the best tasting things. I like almost all types of cheese. I think don't know if I've come across a type of cheese I don't like. I'll have a cheese slice in a toasty. That's
the thing about cheese. Even the shit cheese is good.
Totally. And those ones I do have lactose-free cheese slices in my my cheese toasty, and they're very nice. But I'll also have like a brie, a camembert, blue cheese. Give me some parmesan, ricotta, feta, just all of them. They're all great.
Do you like a halloumi?
That's actually is halloumi
that's very
cheese?
Salty. Yeah.
That's
a good question.
It is a cheese. So,
I always say halloumi cheese, but maybe it isn't it is halloumi cheese.
Okay, it is a cheese. Okay, I haven't had much halloumi, so I don't know. But look, I probably would, because as I'm establishing, I really like cheese. And the great but also terrible thing is I moved house at like the end of last year. And our local, initially I thought it was just our local Woolworths, but turns out both our local Coles and Woolworths have a boutique cheese wall. Full of cheese, fancy cheese. I live in quite a fancy area of town, and I'm just like, it's both like amazing because I go and I'm like, look at all these cheeses, but then they're very expensive, so I very rarely buy them. And then I'm also like, this is genuinely taunting me, and I look at it and part of my stomach churns knowing that I'm probably going to want to buy some of it. And it's like, why does it have to be so good? Yeah, do so much to me.
I'm sorry, Ben. I need to get some cheese tips from you, because I like cheese as well, but I don't consume it at a frequency that I could have named as many cheeses as you just did. And I would like to be able to, because whenever I eat any cheese I've not consumed before, I'm like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever had. But I then just go back to eating fucking cheer sliced cheese and putting it on my...
Bickies, great. Yeah. I quite frequently get Mercy Valley cheese. Very crumbly kind of cheese. There's a lot of different flavors of it. The one I like the most is Plowman's.
Yes.
I don't really know what Plowman's is, but anyway.
Well, I wonder if it's named that because it's generally on the Plowman's lunch. You know, the big board that they put stuff on.
Yeah, of course.
So it's probably Plowman intending to just chuck it on a board.
Yeah. But then what I do is I put off, when I make my toasties, I cut a little slice of the Plowman's cheese, put it inside the toasty, which is actually probably counteracting the lactose-free cheese. But I put a little slice in there, and I get this fun, funky cheese on top of the regular cheese, plus some ham.
That's fun.
And it's great.
You really, I was like, and then more cheese, and then a little bit more cheese. You really love your cheese.
I do.
I'm glad you were here for that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I'm going to take one from Dump Days, who says, do you have any new skills you would like to learn in 2023? Which is a very cool question. I'll throw it back to you, Dump Days, as well. Let us know in the Discord. What are you hoping to learn this year?
Yes.
My main thing is, I know I do the visual effects. I would like to put aside time to hit production grade, because right now I'm having little fun visual effects, but there's a lot of softwares and stuff like that I'd like to learn. That's the serious answer to this. I think I'd love to like, I don't know if parkour is the correct answer, or if it's parkour or if it's learning to exercise. I can't tell which of the two is the skill I want to learn this year. But one of those two.
I like that they're tied together in your mind. Like, the way you learn to exercise is by learning to do parkour, which is a very dangerous kind of exercise. But, you know, it's kind of great.
Because it's going to make my brain go, oh, I'm outside and moving a lot. So now I know how to exercise.
Absolutely.
Stupid.
I also need to exercise more, but that's a boring answer.
Oh, thanks.
No, the parkour part of it was interesting. It made it interesting. Again, my kind of like serious answer, which is ironically very similar to you. Who would have thought we do similar things and are in a similar job and maybe even work together? I want to, because I've spent a bunch of time editing videos and stuff and doing like light, fun edits. But this year, I particularly want to set aside time to learn more motion graphics, because I've done a little bit in the past, but I haven't really had the time to set aside to like actually get consistently good to the point where I can just like open After Effects and make a quick little fun graphic for something without me having to look at like 4 different tutorials at once. So that's kind of my serious answer. My less serious answer, it's not less serious, but something I've been thinking about is because my grandma is Czech. And I used to kind of want to learn a lot of languages because I liked learning languages, but I never was able to get to the point where I could comfortably say I know a language. And in the past, it was because I was particularly like, I want to learn this one so I can travel to this place, which nowadays I'm like, look, realistically, I'm aware that I can travel to most places and get away with knowing English, because most people will, like, as sucky as it is, most people will have a level of English understanding. So I'm like, but part of me does still want to learn a language. And my sister recently mentioned to me that she's been learning Czech. And I was like, you know what? It would be really cool to learn Czech, because that is obviously like where my grandma comes from. But it's also just like a funky language. It's got a lot of letters. It's got a lot of like Z's and V's and stuff in there. That you don't really, and it's like that could be fun. So that's kind of, I don't know if it'll happen, but you know, it's maybe a goal for the year.
Yeah, a language would be good. I know Finchie's been learning French. I always get a delight when we're out late enough for it to be like 11:58, and he's like, oh, my Duolingo. Okay, it's all right. That's fun. Yeah. And so is this segment. If you want to submit some more cues for us to read, just remember what I said earlier, because I can't be bothered to say it again. Let's head into the second to last segment of the podcast. I'm going to hope that worked. It's called the Rec Seg. Rec. And this is where we just talk about stuff that we've watched or played in the last week. I have watched 4 things. I mean, the first thing that we can talk about, which we both watched, which we'll go fairly spoiler light on, is the second ep of The Last of Us, and also just Last of Us, because you haven't really had a chance to talk about it. How are you feeling, Ben?
I like it. I don't think I'm as super hot on it as a lot of the internet is. I think it's very good. It's clearly very well made and a very good show. Like, I can't really deny that.
It's definitely the Andor for this year. We've already hit Andor. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And similarly to Andor, I think by the end of it, you'll be like, and I'll be like, I actually really liked it. But I think the thing I've been saying to Will is I really like everything they're doing that is different from the games, and I think it's because I played the first game at least like 3 times now. So every little bit of extra context they're adding, or even the main change they've made, which is not really a spoiler, it's the way the thing is transmitted, is instead of being like spores and stuff, it's transmitted via like mushroom tendrils and stuff. And I think from a horror perspective, that's actually way more scary. So I think that's interesting. And like the last episode had clickers in it, and they're good. Like, they're good and scary. I don't know. I'm just, as I think many of us expected, we've seen the story. For me, it's a story I like. For Will, it's maybe a story he doesn't like as much. And it's like, but for both of us, it's like, well, just experiencing it again.
Yeah. It's such a unique thing, right? Like, there's very few, and it's also because The Last of Us is such a cinematic game that we've seen it told this way, where, like, you know, not that there's a story in Mario, but if they one-to-one to Mario's story, it would look different because it would be in a different format. Whereas, this is there's shots to mirror because it was a live-action video game anyway.
Yeah, totally.
I think from what I've heard, Ep 3 is the big one. It's the one that a lot of people are saying is the best of the series. Not that it gets particularly worse, but
I can see why based on where they are in the story.
It's definitely the meatiest part of the game. So I'm excited to see that. I'm watching it with my dad, and I thought he really enjoyed the last episode, but then last night we watched something, and afterwards he's like, that was a nicer thing to watch than that other show. I'm like, yeah, that's fair, Dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is just like every week of the two that we've seen, it's just shocking how good it looks. Yeah. Like, especially knowing it's HBO Max, like Westworld's last season looked a little bit fucking rough. And it's like, oh, so all your money went over here. Yeah, you were just like, this is the only show we're making.
Yeah, the set dressing is like phenomenal. I watched a few behind the scenes bits, and there's a bit in the most recent episode where they're just walking along a bridge with all these like rusted and like grown over cars. And I watched the behind the scenes of they've literally like gone to a freeway overpass and like done all that set dressing and stuff. And it shows.
So cool.
And same with like having the facades of buildings and have them just covered in these like gorgeous looking mushroom kind of arrays.
When they're walking up to the museum steps and everything's just covered in it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's kind of where it ties in. Again, I won't try and spoil it too much. It's a weird thing because the games are out there, but the way they've kind of tied that mushroom thing into like fungal connection and stuff makes it, when you see the mushrooms, it's both a thing of like, that's really pretty, and then you're like, oh shit, that's bad.
Don't go there.
And the other thing I want to say is I can't wait to see Nick Offerman, because I feel like that's going to be really fun. I think that's next episode kind of vibes.
Yeah, because I don't think I've really seen him in much serious roles. I know he's done a lot, but it should be cool. But speaking of telly, something I started last night, it kicked off, I think it started yesterday as well, on Apple TV, is Shrinking, which is, oh God, I never watched How I Met Your Mother, so I've forgotten the guy. Fucking Jason Segel is the lead guy in this, and he's a psychiatrist. As with a lot of anything psychiatrist-based, he's got a lot of problems. So it's one of those shows where he's working on himself whilst trying to work on patients and stuff like that. It's very funny. And I know I said I don't watch things just because people are in them, but Harrison Ford is in this. Yeah. And genuinely, like, the first two eps dropped last night. Genuinely, it seems like the thing that he's enjoying the most in his life. He's having, like, so much fun in it. Like, I know I would watch it anyway because Jason Segel's great in it, and like the actual story and writing is like, it's hitting, as I said earlier, the American movies where everything's sweet, but it's a little bit sad, but it's also a little bit happy. Like the A Man Called Otto. Yeah. It's hitting that vibe of like, and especially being a show, everything goes right until it goes wrong, and you're like, no, everything was going so well. Yeah, totally. But yeah, it's really fun. 100% recommend watching. It's not bloated 50-minute episodes. It's only 30-minute episodes, which is like, I miss when TV was that.
Is Apple TV, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think this is going to be when I inevitably re-up my subscription for Ted Lasso. When season 3 of that comes out, I will be probably watching through that as well.
Hold on for this. I don't know how many eps it is. I hope it's short because it's a really good story that I hope doesn't blow out too much. But acting is really wonderful, and it's just wild that I'm watching two television shows with Harrison Ford in it. It's like,
that is crazy.
What the fuck?
I at this point I'm astonished he's still acting and is like so prolifically. Like he's old. I would, at his age and with the amount of money he's raked in, I would fully not blame him to just be like, you know what, it's good. Yeah. But he's like, taken on an MCU role as well. It's just insane.
That's true. Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. Bizarre. But yeah, lovely show. Have you been watching anything else, Ben?
I've been watching a few things. Obviously, I mentioned all the Alien and Predator stuff. I don't have a lot to say about them other than everyone, and you mentioned it in our movies of the year last year, everyone should watch Prey. Prey is a fantastic film.
Absolutely.
And TV shows wise, I do have some more films, but I'm going to talk about TV shows because I have less to say about them. I've been watching a little bit of Koala Man,
cool.
which is, for those who don't know, it's kind of a Australian style adult animation show in the style of like Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites and stuff. And it's very funny. Like it's quite crass in a way that a lot of these shows are, and so it's not going to be for everyone. But as an Australian, there's a lot of humor in there that is just so distinctly Australian. It's got Jermaine Clement voices a character in it, so it's got like a few New Zealanders in there as well. Demi Lardner voices the daughter of the family, but it's just it's so stupidly Australian that I am quite enjoying it. I sadly think it's probably not going to get like another season and probably not going to get picked up much more beyond this, but you know, it's kind of fun to have an adult animation comedy show that is in our kind of world with our kind of humor. It also makes you look at Australia and be like, we're so ridiculous. Good. And the episode I watched last night has it kind of reinforced that it's really nice to like be watching an Australian version of what this is, because in it, it's the one episode I believe Justin Roiland is in, which hasn't aged well. Hearing that voice was a bit of a shock. Because it's very much his Rick voice, but like cooler. Anyway, but it was the whole point of it was like Australia versus America, and Australia having to defend themselves from like the Americans taking over. And I was like, yeah, man. This is what Australians are way more interesting. There's some really good gags in there and stuff. I highly recommend it if you're Australian. It's just a fun time to kind of watch through. Cool. And in terms of movies, I think you've probably talked about it, so I won't go too much into it. The Menu. Have you talked about it on the show?
Briefly last week.
I think it's. Will and I both agree. It's the Glass Onion that we wish Glass Onion was. It's a Knives Out kind of style romp that is just a little bit unpredictable, quite funny, but also quite sinister. And Dad was annoyed that we watched, I think, Night to Night. It was like Banshees of Inisherin and then that. And he's like, can we watch an actual funny movie now? I'm like, I know. But also, like, the thing I particularly stood out about it to me is that just a lot of style in that film, used in like quite interesting ways. And the other thing, well, speaking of films that are more fun, I mentioned it earlier, last night I sat down and watched The Nice Guys, which is just a delight. It's just, because I kind of like panic messaged Will being like, my brain's not working. It's been too big of a week. I need a movie to watch that I ideally don't have to pay too much money for. And he was like, you watched Nice Guys? And I was like, no, I've been meaning to do that. So I sat down and watched it, and just seeing Ryan Gosling in a comedic role is just the best thing. There's so many lines. I was questioning the mermaids.
That was what I was going to say. That is the go-to. It's so good. Why are you wet?
And then there's the one that's don't use the Lord's name in vain. I can't remember exactly what he says, but like I actually used it quite well, Jenna. I'm quite happy with myself. There's hookers and stuff. Don't say and stuff. Just say hookers. And also, the other two ones I want to mention is the giant bumblebee and Richard Nixon are just two of the greatest, unexpected moments that I was not going.
Totally. Yeah. I like very timely. This arrived on Friday. I've always considered buying it, and I finally did. It's a novelization of the movie, and I'm just intrigued to know how you novelize that movie because it is so wordy. Like it's so funny, but it's so joke based. So I'll see how that goes.
It's it was such a weird experience because I was watching it and knowing that like you love it and a couple of other friends I've talked to I know love it, and I was like kind of watching it and I was like, I'm not quite seeing. Yeah, I was like, I'm not quite seeing it. I'm not quite seeing it, and it's really one of those films that, like, it feels all over the place until it doesn't, and as soon as it doesn't, it's like this is so tight. Like this you have covered every base. They call back to everything, and it's just like crazy. And when I realized it was Shane Black, I was like, man, he made a good movie because I don't love Iron Man 3, and I really don't like The Predator.
But he somehow pulled it through. I know. I mean, look, Iron Man 3 is obviously Josh and I's a little soft spot, but it is nuts that this is kind of it. Like he made Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and like one or two other like good movies that are known, but it's wild how this was the last one and then he just made shit after that. It's totally bizarre.
I do have one game as well.
I've just got two quick movies.
Yes.
First one, I did end up watching A Man Called Otto, which is the Tom Hanks. It's a remake of, I think, a Swedish film, which I wish I'd maybe seen first, because it's going to be that thing of like, I like this one now, whereas, you know, the original should be better, but we'll see. Very wholesome, very, like, it ends up being very sad, but in the way that's still uplifting. It's like it's nice. Maybe a little bit too long, but it's nice to see Tom Hanks in a good movie after seeing Elvis and Pinocchio, where he's just these disgusting, bizarre characters.
The most recent thing I watched him in was Polar Express, which I watched over Christmas, and again, also not good.
Not great. But yeah, this was nice. It was nice, a movie with him. And then one that I had to edit the podcast last week because at the start of it, I talked about going to the premiere, teasing that I would talk about the movie at the end of the podcast, and then I never did. So I took out me talking about the premiere. I saw Babylon at that premiere that I never talked about last week.
Yeah.
And I'm a La La Land boy. I've got a whole shelf of it that is still growing somehow. I'm still finding new La La Land things to buy. Yeah. This is from Damien Chazelle. I liked it a lot. I think it First Man was a departure from his style between Whiplash and La La Land. This definitely brings it back around to the jazz and the music and stuff like that. It's very long. It's genuinely a 3-hour movie that feels 3 hours. It hits a point where it's over, and then one thing happens which creates the extra hour, and I was sitting there going like, fuck you. Don't do that.
We were speaking about sequels earlier today, and if I was going to go into another pet peeve, it's like every movie is just far too long. Far too long.
Yeah, 90 minutes. Prey, 90-minute movie. Gets everything done. This movie is way too long, but all the cast are really wonderful. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that made me like happy to see Margot Robbie. Not that she's particularly bad, but I haven't really seen a movie that makes me enjoy her acting. But this one was really good. She carries a lot of the movie. And the main actor of the film, which is totally out of my mind, but this is kind of his first English-speaking role, I think, and he's very, very good in it. And being at the premiere, it was like Margot Robbie, Samara Weaving, and then, that guy. And because even in the promotional material, it seems like it's Margot Robbie's movie, but it's this guy's movie. Yeah. And so as we're watching the movie, I'm sitting next to Josh and Sam and going, fuck, we should have been more excited about being in front of this man.
Yeah.
Because totally. He's phenomenal in the film, and I hope I might watch some of his other films. And
do we know his name, or is he just that man? Let me try and
that man. Let me get his name.
Yeah,
let me get his name. Okay, that's the City of Babylon.
It's fine. I'm on Letterboxd, so I can probably get it. That man is
Diego Calva. So got there because he's behind Tobey Maguire, who is in the film for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's why I thought he wasn't important.
Yeah, right.
But he's the main character.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
this cast list is so weird. Yeah, having seen the film, and it's not a spoiler. There are a lot of basically cameos because people are at the movie moves. So the first there's so many people that weren't unimportant. How weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I'd never seen La La Land actually. I'm sorry, Will.
That's okay.
At some point I will, but then probably after that I will watch this. Oh, do you think I should watch this before La La Land?
Might set the bar low, and then La La Land will jump over it. Maybe,
yeah, cool. Because I've always been interested by La La Land, but it's just one of those ones I never got around to actually seeing. So
yeah, that's okay. There's so many movies like that, like the whole Alien and Predator series.
Yep.
Let's talk games though, Ben. What have you been playing?
Really not a lot. Obviously, I've been playing Destiny. I'm not going to recommend Destiny to you. You either want to play Destiny or you don't. Same with Marvel Snap. You either want to play Marvel Snap or you don't. I've talked about it too much at this point. But the one other game I have been playing, because those are the main two I have been playing, is Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator. Which I think simulator does a disservice to this game.
Yeah.
I think the word simulator being in there is just one of those things to kind of be like, oh, it's another one of those games. But this is it's a really lovely, cute little game. You basically... the best way of describing it is you are making potions to kind of fill out this map of all these different potions you can create. You sell the potions to people, you buy ingredients, you like harvest ingredients from your backyard. I was just surprised at how many different systems there were in this game.
Yeah.
Because at its core, as I said, when it goes and says Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator, I'm like, oh, so I'm just going to be making potions. But then you're like kind of, uncovering this map and all these like extra bits of XP and stuff and upgrades. It's basically like an RPG where you own a potion shop. That's essentially what it is. And I
want to see.
Yeah, it's really fun. It also has a gorgeous art style. It's basically
that's right.
similar to Pentiment, very like based in a kind of storybook aesthetic. And there's something very calming music, something very therapeutic about constantly stirring your potions, but sometimes just to like uncover more of the map, not even to make new potions. And you can also like mortar and pestle them and all that kind of thing. Very calming game, which you can understand has been very good for me lately.
That's fair.
Yeah. So that's been a lot of fun. I legitimately have not played anything else, although I'm really excited to jump into Hi-Fi Rush this weekend, which got announced. Have you played? Is that?
Yeah, that's my one game is Hi-Fi Rush. But they got announced like 2 days ago and dropped at the same time.
Yeah.
It's from the creators of Evil Within.
Yes, and Ghostwire Tokyo.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I suck at rhythm games, even though I do have rhythm, self-proclaimed, but I play the guitar and it doesn't go wrong. But it just does not translate. Like I tried to play Metal Hellslinger last year, and it was a horrible. Like I've never felt terrible at a video game like I did playing that game. This thing, it is it's a rhythm beat 'em up basically. Is the kind of consensus. Yeah, a really nice, fun Saturday morning cartoon art style, a little bit Spider-Verse-y as well. The dialogue is not great. It's funny that this game came out so close to Forspoken because so much of the things that game is, well, not the things. There's a lot of things that game's getting attacked for, but the dialogue issues in that game are kind of the same here. It's very
but everyone's so high on this game instead as opposed to Forspoken. Yeah,
it's so weird. But it's because the game is good. So it's
and I feel like it's a little bit of the genre difference as well, and the art style difference in it
definitely fits everything.
Yeah, it feels like if any game was to be really like, I think your tweet was like gratingly corny or something, and if any game's going to be that, I feel like it fits this aesthetic. Gives me like kind of Scott Pilgrim-y vibes as well. They say they said they're inspired by Edgar Wright films and stuff, so I think it's cool. I just think it's fascinating that it's come from this studio, and also kind of exciting. And again, similar, I think, to what I said about Pentiment. It's just cool that I understand there's a lot of problems with Xbox buying out all these studios and then all that jazz, but it's cool to see all these studios that have kind of been come under the Microsoft umbrella to have the freedom to make their big realistic looking RPG games or whatever, and then also make fun, weird little things that really wouldn't succeed if Game Pass didn't exist. So, you know.
I almost brought it up in my little sequel chat that Game Pass is doing the thing in terms of video game sequels in allowing new IP because some of these studios feel so pressured to continue their big IP because they know it should succeed, that it's like it's nice that Game Pass is just letting them have fun again in the way that early gaming was. Yeah, it's really good. I think it's, from what I've seen, it's only like 7 hours, so I'll definitely play it till the end.
Yeah.
I haven't the one thing is it doesn't have great contact shadows, so when you're doing any platforming, it is so grueling and so just painful.
Right.
Obviously, because of its art style, a little soft black shape wouldn't look great, I guess. But I do wish they had like put like circles or something, because it's like it's wild how much platforming is in this game, and because it's also timing based, it's like the things are moving very statically, and so if you just miss it by a little bit, you fall into a chasm.
Yeah, totally.
But apart from that, it's super fun, and despite being a rhythm game, there's a lot of forgiveness.
That's
like,
what I have heard, that even
Yeah.
if the rhythm, you're not as good at the rhythm stuff, it still can be a lot of fun, even if you're not like absolutely nailing it, which I think is the good part for people like you and I, because I'm also not that great at rhythm games, but I like playing them, so you know.
Yeah. When it's satisfying, it's satisfying. When it's not, it's still fun, which is good. But is that all our recs?
Yeah, that's all I've had time for.
Yeah, we'll play some new stuff coming soon. And speaking of coming soon, the Toe-Vee guide is the name, thanks to Dion. And there's all the things coming up in the next week, starting on the day this podcast comes out. Season A Letter to the Future, my game of the year, drops on PlayStation 5 and PC.
Yes.
Are you going to play this? I'm going to play this.
Oh, I'm going to play this. Have you seen... there's a little bit of a few previews that started coming out. Have you seen any of that? Are you keeping yourself away from that?
I think Joshy tagged me in a press start one, and that's all I've seen.
Largely very positive, which I think is good because for games like this, it can be a hit or miss of like how people feel about it. And obviously, ultimately, it only matters what we feel about it. And I think Will would love it no matter what. But I think for like the wider populace, it's kind of exciting that it seems to be getting a lot of positive press,
especially for indie games, because if they start out rough, like review wise, no one's going to touch them. So.
But it looks gorgeous. I've had my eye on this one for a while as well, so I'm very keen for that.
Sick. The next one is no one's going to play SpongeBob Cosmic Shake, which has gotten bad reviews. This is I think aiming for like that old PlayStation SpongeBob video games, and is not good. It's on everything. And then the last one, which I feel like in a similar vein you might pick up, is the Inclunati that also was part of the the thing. Yeah,
we had a conversation about this in our work chat the other day about how dumb the name is.
It's so hard to say.
Because it's like it seems like it's playing off Illuminati, but it's like it doesn't quite work. It's like they're really trying to make a pun. But in doing that, they made it incredibly hard to say. But this is like, from what I remember, because there's a couple of ink-based games, a lot of storybook-looking games coming out. This is the one where it's like battle-based, but you're kind of like drawing out parts of the battle or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think this is a Game Pass one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I mean, I'll probably dabble into it. If it's a similar kind of vibe to Potion Simulator, then I'll probably play more of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's all that's out on Tuesday. On Thursday, the 2nd, The Whale is finally hitting Australian theatres, which is the Brendan Fraser.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
The big one. That's a horrible thing to say, as in the big film.
Yeah.
I know. And then also is M. Night Shyamalan's new film, Knock at the Cabin, which is getting good press, despite being one of his films.
I legitimately found out this film existed like a day ago. I did not know he was making a new film, which I feel like almost always happens with his films, unless it's like Split or like that particular series. They just come out of the blue and I'm like, okay.
Old? All right. This one I'm excited to see because, people have been praising Dave Bautista as a great actor. So I want to see him act because he still hasn't. No. I know that people are saying he's good, but I'm just like, he's still playing Dave Bautista.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas this, it looks like he may have a role in this, so it might be good. It's a bit horror, as with all of his films. So
that one in cinemas only. It's M. Night feels like a cinemas only kind of person.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming to streaming at the same time or anything. So that one's in cinemas. On Disney Plus, second season of the Proud Family sequel series is out, which is only exciting to me.
I didn't realize there was one season of it. I thought this was the first season coming out, but there you go.
No, so this is season 2 of Loud and Proud, and then in video game world, Deliver Us Mars, which is of course the sequel to Deliver Us Moon, I think was the first game, is out on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.
Which Mars game is this?
Yeah, I know. I never played the original. Jem tried to describe it to me, and I still don't understand it. Deliver Us Mars is an atmospheric sci-fi adventure taking you on a suspense-fueled, high-stakes mission to recover the Ark colony ship. This sounds fucking horrible. I think it's a little bit of a walking sim cross tension sort of thing, but it is not for me. And then the last thing on Friday the 3rd, True Spirit, which is a Netflix film. This is an Aussie movie based on the Jessica Watson, the girl that tried to sail the world by herself, the Aussie, a couple of years ago.
You say a couple years ago. I think this was quite a long time ago now. Yeah. That's long enough that they've made a movie.
Yeah, it's probably like 15 years or something terrifying.
Yeah.
But this is, it's starring Tegan Croft, who plays Raven in the Titans show. So,
cool.
Yeah, and she's awesome. So I'm keen to see it. It's being something that we were both exposed to. I don't think I've really watched a movie on something that's so relevant to us.
Yeah,
generally it's like 40 years ago. So,
because we're both hitting the age where it's like, as we said, it's been long enough for these things to have a movie made out of them now, and that's kind of weird. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But you mentioned Titans, and I do have to say, rest in peace, Titans and Doom Patrol. We saw it coming, but it is sad.
It's really sad. Hopefully they get a nice final season to wrap it.
Mainly Doom Patrol. Titans I have a soft spot for, but it's not a good show.
Yeah. It's such a weird show because it's in the moment you're like, yeah. And then you turn off Netflix and you're like, oh, no.
No.
No. I got to catch up on Doom Patrol. Maybe I'll do that soon.
And I think you probably talked about this last week, but Dead Space is out like today. And I'm excited to probably jump into that. I'm trying to work out if I'm going to stream it or play it on my big TV. Trying to work out what the vibes are more. Because I'm kind of like, is this an experience that I want to like, will I get more out of it if I stream it? Because it's a horror game and I feel like there's a back and forth there. Or do I want to see the pretty big TV HDR kind of vibes with the soundbar and all that going? So I'm trying to work that out. But I'm quite excited for that. So
nice. Yeah. Did you play the original?
No. So that's the other thing. It's my first look at it. So I'm trying to work out what the best vibes are for that. But by the time this comes out,
You'll have done it.
I'll have done it. So there you go.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, that's everything that's coming out and everything that Ben wants to play. If you want more of us, you can head to etto.card.co. That's 2 R's in the word card because I haven't paid for anything.
Yeah.
By Josh's suggestion. That's all I'm going to say now.
Yeah.
Because you can find everything there, I guess.
Yeah, totally. It is true.
I like saying all of things.
They're all there. All the places we are. And if we're not saying any more, then I can't say any more than that. So I'm not gonna.
Where can people find you, though, Ben, if they don't find you here?
You can find me at twitch.tv/ArganTV, where I'm mainly just streaming a lot of Destiny and Marvel Snap at the moment. So if you like that kind of vibe, I played some Marvel Snap on stream this week. Or early, or like late last week.
Yeah.
It all blurs into one at this point. But it was actually, I found it was a really nice game to just like sit and chat to people. It's kind of like chatting, but then I'm also playing a game in between, and that was kind of fun. Nice. So yeah, I might be doing more of that. But yeah, obviously I've been talking to Will. We had a big ETTO meeting, and I'm very keen to make more ETTO content. So hopefully you see a bunch more of me around these places.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Which we're not talking about.
Fuck you, Josh. You can go to youtube.com/each to their own if you want to see us. And if you've been seeing us and you don't want to see us, you can go to any podcast-based place, Spotify, Apple Music, type in Etto's Catch Up and you'll find us. Twitch.tv/ETTonline is where we stream. And we're streaming. It's back, baby.
I think
possibly the Friday that this comes out.
Yeah, Monday and Friday, I believe,
next
week. So you will have seen a Monday and hopefully you'll be seeing a Friday as you watch. Don't watch them at the same time. But watch them maybe one after the other, one before the other. Just work it out. It's up to you. But
that's right. It's on you. Content is coming back, and we're excited to be here. But we've got to stop being here because it's the end of the podcast, Ben.
It is the end of the podcast.
Until the next time, I have been Will.
I've been Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank
Bye.
You.